is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and Brad and I are continuing our top 100 games of all time. This segment is going to be 30 through 21, so the top 30, we are in it for the long haul, and this is going to be a fantastic segment. I have two new ones on this list, and most moved up and barely any fell, so...
I had two new ones.
Sweet.
And then only 3 rows. The rest of them are ones that have went down.
Wow.
So
wow. You must
just a little bit. But there's some
gaming.
No, there's just I played a lot of really cool new games this year that have gotten up higher.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with my number 30, which is actually one of the new ones to the list. And it was new in 2020. So it jumped up exponentially. I really enjoy this game, and the solo mode is not half bad either. And that is Tawantinsuyu, the Inca Empire. This one, if you watched our 10 of 2020, was pretty high up on there. And also, out of the two new T games, very clearly my preferred one between the two. I think this game is fantastic. It has a unique twist on worker placement. It has all the tools of a T David Turczi board and dice game. Basically, you are, of course, going for the most points, and it is a worker placement where each of the workers has a different color and therefore a different ability. Think 5 tribes, but a heavy worker placement game. On your turn, you will have 2 workers, and you can opt to send one of them to a spot, but you have to have a matching god icon, which come from cards in your hand. And then where you place them will indicate how many actions you get to place, depending on if there are matching workers there, as well as whatever special ability that worker has. For example, a blue worker, if it gets placed on a blue spot, it gets an additional action. So you do the actions that are surrounding where it goes. And you kind of have different segments of how much resources it costs to go around the there are tons of ways to get points, building steps, building stairs that make the resources cheaper, going to war or initiating, getting idols built and worshiping or offerings. There's just a lot that is going on here. The board, I feel, is a little, and something that I disagree with on Tom Vassel's review. He said this board was too busy, that it was hard to see what's going on. I felt Tekhenu was that way. Tekhenu, because it's based off of the 6 different gods, have different segments. And it's like, it was not obvious at all to kind of, which god pertained to, which area, especially in a first time play. Here, I mean, it's just kind of like, oh, where do I want to go? Oh, I'll go on that god icon because that's what I have in my hand. I felt this was a little bit more manageable, and the solo mode is pretty good as well. But I don't know, like I didn't much care for either solo, but this one is better than Tekhenu in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how this one stays in the running. But as of right now, it's number 30. Tawantinsuyu.
Good deal. I was wondering about the solo stuff. How does it solo, like, how would you compare it to Teotihuacan?
I haven't tried Teotihuacan solo, so it's on the list of solo games I need to do a run through for, but so I don't know. This one plays a little bit more like Anachrones solo.
Okay.
And so and I mean, man, one thing I gotta keep giving this game praise for is its player aid. This would not be as high if the player aid wasn't as good as it was. Like, it set the bar, in my opinion, like that other companies or other games that are as deep need to meet up with. You can read the rule book once and then have the player aid and understand how to play this game. It's that good. So yeah, that's probably another reason why it's actually as high, because if it was anything like what Tekhenu was or anything else, it probably wouldn't, because this game is complex, but its player aid makes it not as complex. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So my number 30, you've already said on your list. I can't remember how far down. It was number 12 the last 2 years. So it has fallen a little bit. I don't know why. And that is Seven
wow.
Wonders.
Nice.
So like, it dropped 18 spots. I don't know why. I mean, I guess maybe we haven't been playing it as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been playing the app, but so anyway, yeah, yours, I think it was a couple segments ago, but this is kind of the granddaddy in my mind of card drafting games. I know there was a little bit of drafting before, but this one kind of did it in a way that, yeah, and like you said, you can play this with 7 people seamlessly. It runs the same amount of time pretty much throughout the whole game. Hey Siri.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love this game, and there's some people that I've shown this game to that don't like it with high numbers, but they don't, because they're like, well, you can't interfere with people on the other side of the table and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, but it's like that to me, that gives it like a grand scope of the world. You're not going to be able to trade with people on the other side of the world if you're, I mean, Antoine Bauza did a stupendous job with this game. I know the symbology is a little tricky at the beginning until you learn it, but once you get that down, it's awesome. The one thing I wish, and you just talked about player aids with the last game.
Yeah.
This game needs to have like a little card that and maybe they did with the second edition. I don't know, but you need to have a little card that just has all the symbols and like all the abilities, because you have to pass those rule books around. It's like, what does this card do? Stuff like that. That's the only drawback to this game in my mind.
Yeah. Like a sheet, like an icon sheet or something.
Right. And I'm sure
they have it, and I'm sure there's one online. I'd actually be curious to see if there's one. Let's see.
Yeah, and I'm sure there is, but it's one of those things, like you said, I can't remember what game you were talking about the last time. You shouldn't have to go out and print this stuff. I think it was Kindle. Yeah. So it's like, but like I said, that's the only drawback to this game. This game opened up the doors to so many other drafting games, and it still stands up. That, like I said, they come out with the second edition. I don't exactly know how much it's going to be different.
So you can go on Google and you can type in Seven Wonders Player Aid, and the first link will take you to a Board Game Geek where a person has made a version of Player Aid, and it includes Leader Cities and Wonders as well as Catan and Leader Goodies. I don't know anything about that, but so the only thing it doesn't have is
probably
Armada, which I don't know if Armada actually had any unique icons. So it is technically there, and it's pretty good. It has like general icons as well as like separated by the different ages, and then the guilds, and then leaders, and then wonders. Yeah. So I still agree with you. The company is the one who made the fucking game, so provide ways for players to play your game.
Well, and this one is also an older game.
Well, yeah, so maybe the new one has it.
Right, and that would be wise of them if they did.
Yes, I agree. And eventually I will update my game. I understand people are like, well, it's the same game. And it is, but I like new and shiny stuff. And having recently played this game, actually, maybe 3 weeks ago, I definitely see that the ease of card splaying from the second edition, because I remember Z Garcia from the Dice Tower does it. Between the two, and the card is enough for me to eventually get it. I didn't run out and elbow people out of my way to get a copy of the new edition, but I will eventually update. All right, still a great game. Okay, my number 29 actually rose. It was 47 last year, and Pretty 2 in 2018, and it went up because that one was relatively low on your top 100, and that is Viticulture Essential Edition. This one is probably my second favorite Stonemaier game. And
I wonder what the first one is.
I think it's Pendulum. If I'm not getting proven wrong later on, I'm taking a quick glance at my list. I don't think it is. This one is a fantastic game. At the time it came out, I believe it was innovative with its Grande worker. I could be wrong there, but at least this is the first one I played where it's a worker placement game, but you actually have a worker that can go anywhere. Even depending on number of players, there's a certain number of spots that workers can go on at different sections. And you hold on to your Grande worker at the very, you're like, okay, hopefully if someone ends up taking a spot I really want to go to, I can still go there, and that is a huge relief. This one does everything that I like in a game. Like, it does the unique, okay, when am I deciding to wake up mechanic, and if I go later, I get a better bonus, but I don't get to go first, so you have to weigh those decisions on your own. It is a game about running a vineyard, and you are trying to basically create certain wines to meet certain orders, which will get you victory points and money, constant income. You have your own player board where you are building certain types of constructions for your vineyard that benefit. The Essential Edition, the best one I think in that is the extended board, where you actually have all 4 seasons of worker placement spots. Versus, I believe the initial edition just had spring and winter as worker placement. I think summer and fall they were there, but they were just like cards or events or something. It's been a while since I've actually played the original because I have
Never played the original.
Gotcha. This one also includes a little area control map, like in the corner that you can play with, where you are sending like pieces to try and control certain areas to get a little bit of benefits. But at the end of the day, this game is a race. You are first one to 25 points or 20 points is it at least triggers the end game, and then you finish out, and then whoever has the most points at the end of that segment wins. So I don't really have any complaints. I have not tried this solo variant. Once again, I need to start compiling a list of all games that I own that have a solo variant, because I know that's a big it's a big word criteria for a lot of gamers. So we'll see how that is with the Automa being birthed from this game.
Right.
I'm hoping it's solid.
The solo version of this is wonderful.
Okay.
I like it so much better than I'm trying to think of the other Stonemaier games. It's better than Euphoria. It's better than Scythe. It's better, in my opinion.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you'll like it.
Awesome. Good deal. So yeah, that's my 29 Viticulture Essential Edition. I'm curious. Well, I am curious real quick. I now have Vito Lasarda's Vinos.
Yes.
So I'm curious, because I never got it because I had this. So I'm curious if it's worth having both, or if I had to guess, I would keep this one over Vinos, but you never know with who I am. Who am I?
I have heard that you can have both because this one is they just fit different veins. Like Vinos is a really, really, like if you're wanting a super strategy, hardcore Euro game, then that's what you get. But this one's a little more, this one's still not super simple, but it's definitely
simpler than anything Vidal's ever going to put out.
Right. So
even Vidal's new was it Mercado de Lisboa, his filler game, even that's probably going to be more complex than this one. He
probably
help himself.
All right. So my number 29 is one of my brand new ones to the list.
Neat.
You have not played it yet.
Well, it's probably not that good then. Okay.
Well, you don't like the predecessor to this game.
Oh, okay.
The predecessors to this game is Roll Through the Ages. So this one is...
I haven't played it.
Era Medieval Age.
Gotcha.
This game, brings in that same kind of thing as Roll Through the Ages, where you're rolling through dice, collecting resources, doing all that jazz. But you are actually building your 3D city. It has 3D buildings. You're going to get a plastic board in front of you, and you keep track of all your components and your famine and all that stuff with pegs on the plastic board. And then when you build stuff, you actually have 3D buildings, and you have to spend a certain amount to build certain things, and those all have abilities. Some of them will give you more dice, some of them will give you more whatever, but then you have to place them. And then there's a whole spatial thing of where you place the buildings. You put walls up around your buildings. After the finished product is really awesome looking by the time you get it completely done. There is the interaction thing again, the part that you don't like. It's in there, but it's not as cutthroat. The whole skulls thing, where you have the whatever, I can't remember what they called it, the pestilence or whatever that.
Oh, wasn't it plague?
Plague, yeah. But anyway, there's stuff like that in there, but it's not as cutthroat as the first games. There's an expansion that should be coming out at any moment now, that's going to add like rivers and bridges and different stuff to this game. I love this game. I mean, if you like building something and then admiring your finished product at the end, this is perfect. Like, I showed this to Chad, and because Chad likes this kind of things, like the whole Castles of Mad King Ludwig, he likes the finished product. This one he loved, right? Just because you have to really be careful where you place stuff, because certain things, if you place it next to this, you get extra points, or you may lose points if there's certain things. There's it's just one of those really cool things that they built upon the engine of Roll Through the Ages, Bronze Age and the Iron Age, and then they've come up with this. Matt Leacock, of course, does a lot of good stuff, and this one is just a wonderful game. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it just because of the fact that you're building something and you actually get to do something besides roll dice and then make and mark X on your fucking sheet. Well, because this is based off of a roll and write. That's what those were. Those Roll Through the Ages was one of the earliest roll and write games before they were popular. Yeah. This is a roll and build game, is what they call it. You're actually building your city up and stuff. So, but yeah, this one is a wonderful game that kind of jumped out of nowhere at one point. I got it just because it was built upon the Roll Through the Ages, because I like that stuff. And then this one blew it out of the water. I don't even own the Roll Through the Ages or any of those other ones anymore because of this. Neat. So, all right, yeah, I will add it to the list of games to try. Yeah. All right. My number 28 was 17 in 2019 and 16 in 2018. And I can tell you exactly why it's fallen, because I have not played this game in a long time, but I used to play it all the time, and it fell on your list too, just because of lack of play. So, I mean, I have no doubt that if I played it any time before doing this top 100, it would be right there in 17 or 16. And that is Blood Rage. Yeah. Blood Rage is still one of Eric Lang's best games. I mean, I remember when this game came out, and it was like everyone was talking about Blood Rage. It was like people were like doing back alley deals in games with Blood Rage. Like, they're like meeting in the corners because they have an addiction. So they're like all cracked out in like A-tops and just like, I gotta get some Blood Rage in, and then they're like melting the minis on a fucking spoon and just fucking rubber band time. That's the addiction that Blood Rage had. And then, I mean, it still holds up. This is one of those games that you're like, oh, okay, it has card drafting and it has area control, and it is intense. What you are doing is you are card drafting to build your tribe. So from the very first card draft, you are already different than everyone else and how
your tribe is hopefully going to function. It's one of those games where you are trying to get the most points, and there's a variety of ways to do that. Your people, you can get points through winning battles. You can get points for having people die. You can get points for actually controlling areas, for having monsters and ship battles, and just getting your 3 different tracks as high as they can possibly get for endgame scoring of like 60 points if you max out all 3 of them. As the game progresses, because you're playing during Valhalla with the World Tree, which I believe the World Tree is called Yggdrasil. Is that right?
Yeah.
And what's cool about the game is that depending on the number of players, as it goes on, the map gets smaller and smaller. So you can actually kind of start this game with a little bit of turtling, but eventually that is not going to be the case. You will not have enough time to do so. This was one of the first games that actually introduced like, oh, big monsters, but oh, this is only mine. I can only ever have this monster because I have the one card that lets me do it, which is really cool. It makes everyone feel kind of unique. Oh, I guess Kemet also did that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like with the monster tiles, but this game's way better, obviously. And it's just extremely solid, and I have everything for it, which makes it even better. But yeah, still, I probably haven't played this game in over a year, and it's still sitting at 28. Like, that just goes to show how good this game is. And like I said, if I had played this anytime recently, it would shoot up. But other games I've played are a little bit higher because of that reason. But yeah, I cannot wait to see what Ankh brings to the table. I'm curious how it differs from Rising Sun and Blood Rage, because it's, hopefully it does, because Blood Rage and Rising Sun were dramatically different, but it's still air of, okay, this is an Eric Lane game, but you can own both without having really any similarities other than that. So yeah, that is my 28, Blood Rage.
The one thing about Ankh, we had talked about it, and I was kind of looking to see what was different about it. And the one thing that's iffy to me about it is at one point in the game, the 2 people in last place get to team up.
Really?
Yeah, and stuff. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to see how it plays, because the last two people in last place get to team up and be on the work together to try to final push. And I'm like, hopefully that's not overcompensating on a catch-up mechanic.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't read up on games that much on how they play, because it's like I've been burned too many times where it's like, oh, that sounds amazing, and the gameplay is actually really bad. So I don't know. Usually I just play games, because that's the ultimate way of trying to figure out if you like it or not.
Right.
So yeah, 28, Blood Rage.
All right, my number 28 is a game that we both own everything for, I believe. It is a game that was not on my list 2 years ago. It was 24 last year, 28 this year. Deck building game, 1v1 with a little bit of co-op, and that's Hero Realms.
Nice.
This is another one of those, that I demoed for White Wizard. So I've played more games of this than I can count. And the 1v1 is how this game began, and it's great at 1v1. It's just like Star Realms, where you're going through. But then they started coming out with the cooperative little campaigns that aren't like super complex campaigns, but they're done well enough to make it fun. Where you get to choose a class of character, and you get to go through and you make choices as you're going through the different scenarios in this little campaign book. Then the second campaign I liked better than the first one. Just good and challenging. But they just
is it in the same vein, or did they do anything different?
It's more or less the same. It's just a little more difficult. I think I had a little more trouble defeating them than I did the first ones. And then with that second part, they also came out with the oh crap, I can't think of the word now. There was classes in the first
journeys one. And
there was lineage stuff almost. Like,
I don't remember. I basically got all my stuff and then I organized it in their nice organizer.
yeah,
And then just all right, on the shelf.
yeah. There's a lot to this
Ancestry.
game. Yes, Ancestry, yeah. But there's so much to this game if you own everything. It's just a lot of stuff. But it's really well done. I prefer this miles and miles and miles ahead of Star Realms.
That's because you're not getting the cool holographic Star Realm set.
I don't care about holographic,
well, that's because you're a fucking pleb.
but now I will say I like this. I just said so much more than Star Realms, but I've played more games of Star Realms than any White Wizard game.
Well, because they have a app.
Well, not I'm talking physical, because because when I first started demoing that day, I was at the Star Realms area.
Oh,
they had a lot more of those set up because they were having a big tournament.
That's why.
Convention. So I showed so many games of Star Realms.
That's why you don't like it anymore.
Well, no, I like it. I just prefer this. They're both the same game, more or less. It's just this one's fantasy, and I prefer fantasy over like the spaceships and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
More or less. It depends on what type of game, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, Hero Realms is my 28. It's a nice deck builder, and if you like the co-op storytelling part, get those two campaigns.
Yeah, this was 150 for me, or 151. I mean, it's still a really good game, and as of right now, I agree. I like Hero Realms better than Star Realms, but I don't own Star Realms right now. I still need to finish my pledge manager for the latest Star Realms one and order everything for it. So, but yeah, they're both fun. I have played Star Realms, but as an app, and it's just I've actually played it in person as well. It's good. Like, I even like this one as the 1v1.
Yeah, it's good that way too. I just get it played with the co-op stuff more.
Yeah. All right, neat. My number 27 is my second new one on the list and will be most likely higher on yours. Like, it's definitely higher on your list.
You don't know my list?
I know you, and therefore I know your list. So this game is most likely top 10 if I had to guess. And you can go ahead, and that is Cthulhu Death May Die.
I forgot all about this game.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, you haven't played it every day during quarantine. This one is phenomenal, and a game that I wish I had backed on Kickstarter, because I want that giant ass $300 mini, and I want that Unspeakable box that is going for $600 because people are pieces of shit.
You can get it for $150 right now.
Yeah, I know, for an expansion. Yeah, like, that should be an outlaw. Like, that should be a crime. Like, price gouging. Like, you know how, like, at sports events, it's illegal to actually, like, what do they call it, where you have tickets and you scalping. That's what people do, and it's a crime for that. It should be a crime for this, and those people should be taken out back and shot for the price gouging on that expansion. Anyway, Cthulhu Death May Die is a phenomenal cooperative, brutally hard Lovecraftian game, where you basically take a god and you take a story and then you combine them, and therefore you have a different game on how it's going to play out depending on which god and what they do specifically, and what happens in that encounter. It's fantastic. I don't think I've seen a miniature game like, and I mean, it's not really a dungeon crawl, but you fight minis and you're trying to solve an objective. I don't think I've seen that combined in an actual mini game. Usually all that stuff is for card games because it's way easier to do that in card games. This one is just so fantastic. One of my favorite things about the game is not that, but the fact that all the people you play are not Lovecraftian characters. Like, they didn't take the same ones from Arkham or Eldritch or anything else. They're unique. Some of them real life people. Like, you can play as Rasputin.
There's Al Capone.
And Al Capone, yeah, and all those characters. So it's really, really cool, and I think that gives it an air of like a breath of fresh air. The other thing that makes this really cool is that you're can, and most likely will, eventually go insane, but you get more powerful as you gain insanity. That's how you level up. Your character has different tracks and attributes that go up as you gain insanity. So it's not a bad thing, and you actually end up rolling more dice when doing so, but you're on that cusp of like, okay, well, hey, I should probably not be taking any more insanity because I will eventually go descend into madness and I'm unplayable. It's so good. It's so good. I mean, the only thing with the Unspeakable box is you said it's just more characters and the two more gods, but one of them you can buy.
Yeah, the Yogg-Sothoth and Drogon are in the box, and Yogg-Sothoth you can buy individually.
Yeah,
but there's like maybe 20 or 25 new characters.
New characters.
And then there's a few episodes in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll just find some guy who's down on his luck who's really just trying to get any money, and he's like, $20? Will you give me $20 for it? And I'll be like, hell yeah.
Here's the deal. This game is number 27 on your top 100. You've spent a lot of money on other games, and if you like this game that much, it's worth getting. I mean, if you can get that for $100.
It is not worth $150 for an expansion. Like that's KDM. That's KDM bullshit. Like, I mean, it's just, who knows? Maybe I'll find on eBay. I mean, I've seen people sell the whole set for like $5 with the mini, and it's like, I might as well just buy that, and then just buy that for all of it, and then just sell what I currently have. Who knows? I'll get the big mini before I get that expansion. Like, I will pay double for a giant mini than I will.
And the one thing is with the in that Unspeakable box, one of the other things that comes with it are these plastic overlays that go over your character deal that are recessed so your tokens will stay. They aren't the greatest. It's a cheap stick. I mean, so that's one thing I can. And
I haven't had a problem with those things staying on. It wasn't like Terraforming Mars where it's like one bump and you're like, well, my game's over.
Yeah. I think it was one of the stretch goals that they had at one point or something like that. But yeah,
right.
I mean,
it is 27 out of, out of 400 games played. I mean, it's still fantastic. And I mean, you personally have found like a combination that you believe to be unbeatable. And I'm curious to give that a shot.
With the god and the stuff. God.
Yeah. So,
Drogon is a bastard.
So I'm excited to see if CMON does anything with this game. They've released what's called seasons. That's season 1 was the base set, then season 2 was an expansion.
You'd think they would. It's so popular amongst people. Like, this is probably one of the more popular Kickstarters that CMON has had that has caught traction with, and I mean, I'm amazed that they haven't. Of course, they have 550 damn Kickstarters that they're making right now, but
they're probably waiting for Marvel United to finish out. Bloodborne is also slowly finishing stuff. So here's hoping. Like, they could do what Mind Clash is doing with Perseverance. Perseverance was a Kickstarter that had 2 chapters. I mean, they're separate games, but they could do that, go on Kickstarter and do a season 3 and 4. So I hope so.
Oh, sorry. The problem with this is, though, and could be an issue, is Eric Lang's not with CMON anymore.
Oh, you're right. But he's still contract, or he's not contracted.
He could still work for him. I mean, he could still make games for him, but he doesn't work for them. So I don't know if there's some. Because I know Trudvang Legends, that Kickstarter is a complete. They sent when he left, they totally overhauled the entire game, and that's why it's got pushed back like a year and a half.
Wow.
So I don't know if that has any interference with this or what, but
maybe.
But I hope not, because Rob Daviau and Eric Lang together, I mean, that was a pretty good.
Yeah, that's a great combination. Rob Daviau by himself is a little iffy, but him with someone else always ends up being great.
Yeah.
So that's my number 27. Cthulhu Death May Die.
We'll see if it's on my list later. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, we will see.
All right, my number 27 was not on my list 2 years ago. It was 33 last year, and it's climbing up, and it's going to probably climb up a lot more once the Kickstarter that is almost delivered is here, and that is Dice Throne.
Nice.
It's yet another 1v1 game that's good. I mean, like, it's 27 as a 1v1, That, I mean, it's so that put that over Hero Realms, put that over Sorcerer, any of those other 1v1s. But then the Adventures Kickstarter expansion that, I mean, this is going to be here within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I would say.
I don't know. I never get my stuff on time.
Yeah, is brings in the solo co-op stuff where you get to use any of these characters in all of the Dice Throne world, and you get to go through a tile-based dungeon crawl, and you get to get loot, you level up, you do all these different things. There's decisions of what you do, and you're working your way up to taking on the main evil bad guy at the end of the dungeon. You know, it's so this game, it's one of those things. Everybody's going to have a special dashboard for their character, and you're going to have 5 dice, I believe. Yeah, 5 or 6. It's 5 dice. And all the dice match the characters. You know, they each have their own specialized tokens and all that stuff. They each have their own game tray that everything fits in for each individual character. And each dashboard. Is it actually
game trays?
I want to say yes.
Some off-brand. Okay.
I think it's game trays. I'm pretty positive. But anyway, so you have all these abilities that are on your dashboard, and you Yahtzee style roll your dice, and depending on what you end up with, you can do these powers that attacks the next person over there, because you're trying to take out their and when you play the 1v1, you're just trying to knock them out. But there's also a power, I can't remember what they call it, power or energy, that you're also trying to build up with the dial to be able to play cards, because you have your own deck of cards that's specialized for your character, that does different things, that could adjust die rolls or cancel out things that the other person's doing to you, like a defense thing. There's just a lot of decision, but you're combining these really cool dice with all these abilities with your own deck, and that's why I'm super excited for the Adventures deal, because you're going to get to do, it's pretty much playing that exact same game, but you also are adding in moving your standee or miniature throughout the dungeon and doing different stuff. I think it's really going to be a stupendous thing, and the people that have already gotten this Kickstarter overseas, and they're asking questions and have stuff laid out, it just looks outstanding.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see where this goes.
I'm excited to get all my stuff in. So yeah, I'm looking at pictures. It looks awesome with the unique characters and their specialized deck and ultimate ability. Maybe this will be my replacement for Guardians, since that one
or it can pass your Endines.
Oh yeah. I do not see this game surpassing.
Oh no, I doubt it.
You never know.
Well, and the other cool thing with this is because they have season 1, season 2, they've got all these other character packs. There's a bunch of characters that they have, and but they're all super unique. Like the most non-unique one is probably that second guy to the right, that because he's like the big like barbarian, so he's just all about brutish, big bashing. But there's all these crazy. There's like a pirate queen, and there's and they're complex as hell. Some of them get really complex with their abilities, but they're not overpowered. They're equally powered, but the complexity of their abilities are different.
So like essentially play style.
Right. So like when I first played this, I was that barbarian, because he was an easy one to play. He was just brutish. He just went in and slugged. Where other ones are more like, dipping and diving and doing different stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is a wonderful game, and it's probably has a good chance of going up.
Right. BattleCon does a similar thing. They have characters that have, novice or easy difficulty and then hard difficulty, and it's like, does that mean it's like the hard people are gonna be more overpowered? Nope, it's just how they play. So I'm excited to get this in.
That's for sure.
All right, my number 26 is one that you can no longer give me shit for, so haha. It actually went up. It was 36 last year and 36 before in 2018, and this went up because of the different the different versions that have come out, and then the newest season. So that is Pandemic. Now, once again, I have combined all versions, all good versions of Pandemic in one congruent, basically, placement. I didn't want to have Fall of Rome here and then Cthulhu there. It was just that. I mean, it's just stupid. So, but for the record, I mean, Iberia is my favorite standalone Pandemic. I love Pandemic with all its expansions. And then the Pandemic Legacy is 1, 2, and 3 are just, I mean, innovation in board gaming. Whenever Pandemic, I mean, I know Risk Legacy existed, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's good," but Risk wasn't ever really a hobbyist game, and Pandemic was. So when they did a story element to Pandemic, that changed as you went on, and by the end of it, you had your own unique, board and your own story that went on. It was just revolutionary. So, I mean, if you don't know, Pandemic is a cooperative game where you are trying to stop diseases from spreading, and you're moving around the world to different cities and prevent outbreaks from happening, and you lose through a number of ways, and you only win through one, curing all 4 diseases by collecting colors of 5 and then going to a lab and turning those in, and then you each of the 4, and that's how you win. You lose if your player deck runs out. You lose if you run out of any one particular disease cube to put on the board, and you lose if you have 8 outbreaks. I have played so many games of Pandemic that this might actually be the game I have played the most, just because I've done different run-throughs for it on the channel. I think the only one I haven't done a run-through for is actually Fall of Rome, which I don't know why. I own it, and it's great. They have become diverse in a lot of their games. Like they have the Rapid Response, which is a real-time version, but literally for some of them, they're just putting the Pandemic name on it just so they can sell it. Like, Rapid Response is a fun real-time game, but it's not Pandemic. It has nothing to do with it of the format and of the system. The only ones that can, like, that should legally be allowed to have that title on it are the, Reign of Cthulhu, Iberia. The Rising Tides can be thrown in the trash because it is easily the worst. And Fall of Rome, even Fall of Rome is branching out of being not really a Pandemic game because it does play quite different. And the legacy games are just, they're so much fun. Like I've gone through, I'm like season 0 is the sole reason of why this went up 10 spots, and it was my best game of 2020 because it radically changes the format, also keeping the core of Pandemic in there. I love these games, so that's my 26.
All right.
Is Pandemic on your list?
No.
Dang it.
No. I don't hate it as much as I used to, but it's still not.
Wouldn't branch in. I wasn't sure if the season 1 would have snuck it in there.
Not quite. Like once we do the other ones, just to see where it kind of goes.
Sure.
But this one was in such a deep hole that it's got to have a lot of crawling out to get. It
has its fingertips on the edge of the hole, and it's slowly climbing out.
It's not like Gloomhaven that totally went from.
That's fair.
All right, so my number 26 probably isn't on your list anymore. I don't think it will be. But it was number 7 2 years ago. It was number 5 last year.
Dang.
And the only reason that it dropped down this far is because I haven't played it in probably a year or so, even though I've got all the new content that just showed up a few months ago. And that is Folklore of the Affliction. This is one I need to get to the table right now. Gloomhaven is taking up my whole gaming area around me right now. So, and Folklore takes up a lot of space as well. So it'll get played again.
Folklore was not even considered.
Yeah.
This is one of the games that dropped quite significantly in how much I liked it.
Yeah. The Fall of the Spire expansion that just came out, I'm excited to see where that world goes. I'm about halfway through the second expansion box.
Gotcha.
And then they came out with that really sweet box of monsters thing that had all the vac trays in it and had all the drawers for all of them. Every miniature in the game fits in there. So that's really awesome. Pretty much what this is it's a horror RPG, really, is what it is. A horror themed RPG is a lot of like werewolves and all this different stuff. But it also, it focuses on, this one focuses more on story elements. Like this got compared to Gloomhaven a lot, in that Gloomhaven was more strategy and tactics and with a little less story. This one was more story but weaker in tactics and stuff, because of how you just move the grid, and your attacking was a little more simplistic in this than it is in Gloomhaven and stuff.
Yeah.
So like they focused on storyline with this one. But what's neat is the races that they have, not races, the classes that they have in this, you know, with the just I can't even think off the top of my dang head. But some of the
they have the Witch Hunter. They have I'm just thinking of the 4 that we played. They have the Witch Hunter. They have the Madman, the Avenging Madman. They have the Exorcist. They have a Butcher. They have a Scientist. They have an Illusionist.
Yes.
Yeah, the classes are one of a kind, and I haven't seen those in any other RPG.
Right, and it's kind of like an open world game because each person has their own little booklet that has their own skill tree and all this stuff. And when you go to towns, there's only certain things that certain classes can do in those towns and places they can go to and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you're very first starting the game, you get to choose. There's like 2 branches, and you get to choose. Okay, do I want to focus and be this or this, and then it branches off from that.
Yeah.
The miniatures are really sweet. I mean, they're not like Blood Rage quality, you know, and stuff like that, but they're good. The one thing about these miniatures is that they actually have the name stamped on the bottom of the miniatures, which is an outstanding little addition.
They're the only company that's done that.
Right.
I don't get it. I like they get an extra point in a ranking because of that. And they have pictures of the mini of, like, they have the art of the character, but also a picture of the miniature. So you're not like sitting there and it's like, because some games they do their mini in a different, you know, or whatever art is. So you're sitting there and like, I think this is the guy. Man.
Well, in all their minis trays and stuff, they've taken the time to take a picture of the tray with all the minis in it, and then you put it on top of the tray. So it's so like, you know how like when you get a bunch of minis out and you're like, okay, does this go here? You can't really figure it out. So you can actually look at the picture and be like, okay, these are all stored here. It's just they took a little extra time, you know, and got that
Tainted
stuff
Grail
done.
and Otherfields, they do that.
That's a smart thing. But so you're pretty much just working your way through these storylines, powering your guys up, traveling the countryside. As you travel, every single time you move, if you're on the road, you pull a road event, which is, and then depending on, there's a day and night mechanic as well that it changes what the event does, whether it's day or night. You can also go off road if you're kind of brave and do that stuff. It's one of the other cool things about this game is the fact that it has a really big world map that you're moving on, but then sometimes when there's just if you run into stuff on the road or out in the deal, there's a skirmish deal, so you don't have to pull out minis or anything. You just pull their card, roll dice, you battle that way. But then there's other times when you'll go in almost like the old school Final Fantasy style, where you'll go and then you'll have an encounter, and then you find that you pull out a tile, lay it down, set up the minis, and then it's a tactical based battle. It's almost like it zooms in onto that battle, and then you go through and fight it out. This is just one of those games that's got a lot of story to it, a lot of different things. And like I said, the only reason I think it fell from where it did is just because I haven't played it in over a year. I need to get it to the table more because I really enjoy it. But you know, that's that. You know, that's my 26.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. for me personally, everything of that whole spiel you just went on is what makes this game extremely cumbersome. Like it's very fiddly when messing around with all that stuff, constantly having to dig into the box for minis that you weren't expecting to actually play against. A lot of the time of playing this game is you not playing this game. It's this constant setup, finding where's the tile sheet? There it is. Okay, now I need to find these minis, place them out. Okay, and then all these cards, and then like the world map was just, I mean, a good idea, and it's all good in theory, but it's like it's monotonous. Okay, hand me the first player token. Okay, move 4 spaces. All right, road event. All right, move 4 spaces, road event. It's just, man, missed the mark. It was just, for me, increasingly annoying to play. But other than that, everything else is cool about it.
Well, and I play this primarily, all the time. I've never played this with another person. I play this solo, 2 characters.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, it'd be probably way better solo.
Right.
But yeah, and then also the combat, I don't know if you mentioned it, but it's percentiles, and it's stacked against you. Like, you hitting the enemies is a lot more difficult than them hitting you. It's like, 'cause you have to roll above their defense, and it's like every character starts with like a 30 defense, and so it's like extremely easy for them to hit you, and to increase your defense costs a lot of money for you to get your unique items. And so like that's what I went heavy on that when we were playing this, and I finally got above 50. So at least it was a 50-50 chance for them to hit me, but it took a lot of money and a lot of gear to get that. But everything else, like, they do a lot of good things here. It's just, it became a little bit more fiddly and monotonous than I was enjoying at the time. So that's the reason why it's no longer on my list.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it made it on my list last year. Folklore. In 2018, it was 41, and in 2019, it was 56. So, and then it was 206 this year. So I guess it was considered. I was like, who knows? But anyway, not to shit on the game that you really like. It's
one of those this is one of those that people love or hate.
Yeah. I just think if they refined it, there is room for improvement here. This is just on that cusp of being a great game, but they do a lot of things right. All right, going off into a completely different direction. My number 25 was 33 last year and 48 the year before, so it has gone up, and this is because this company has continued to support this game, and I still have a bunch of scenarios that I haven't even touched on, and it is my favorite game in this genre. Yes, it is my favorite game in this genre, and it has the worst name ever, and that is Detective, a modern crime board game. Boy, is this title just bland as hell. I think that this game is just fantastic. I mean, I've mentioned every other type of game in this genre: Detective City of Angels, Chronicles of Crime, and Sherlock Holmes Consultant Detective. And this game, to me, is my favorite out of all of them because of how in-depth you get into the game. Every case that I have played drags you into that meme with Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the psychotic corkboard and the strings. It's like you become John Nash from A Beautiful Mind when playing this game. You're just like, okay, so here's all the people that we know. They even give you tools. You have they give you pictures like those that you would put board, and they even, like, you could buy a whiteboard or even a corkboard and write out, okay, here's how these are connected. Some of the cases are that in depth. And fantastic as the game is also based around a deck of cards for each scenario, and also their own website that they have developed that you put in information, and you can do interviews, or not interviews, interrogations of characters to find out how they're feeling, and that gives you information. They have a database of all the characters that could be in this scenario, that if you find them, you can put them in, and then if you find an item later on, you can take it to a like the science lab and get forensic evidence that will match fingerprints. And so you find all that and you're like, oh, that person was at the scene of the crime. Okay, well, let's go on with that. So now let's go, and you have a bunch of different areas you can move to. It's based on a time track. You just like a detective in this one, like a modern day detective, more so than any of the other ones. Even Chronicles of Crime with its app based, I feel that this one does the job better than the Chronicles of Crime one. The Detective City of Angels, I mean, that one doesn't really compare because it is more in the, you know, one player is running it's more of a D&D fantastical setting. This one, with it being modern, you also can use your phone. There's times where you're looking stuff up and you can Google it like you could if you were actually, it's like, okay, well, this person was at, you know, this area. Okay, what does that area look like? And get real life information. And then even some of the other ones that they have, like one of the Signature series with Rob Davio's case was set in the 80s. And so you didn't have Google. You had to actually go, and there was go to the library and type in a log to find out. And they did that fantastic. It's also great because like they have questions at the end, like almost all of these do. And if you get like, okay, let's say it's like, who killed this person? And you get that right, you've passed the case. Like, it's not like, I mean, you might get like 1 out of 10, but you technically succeeded because you at least found out the main thing. But you're going for Browns and trying to get the most points out of the scenario by getting everything else right. But at least it's not like a Sherlock Holmes where it's a score out of 100 and you're trying to beat that. You just are trying to solve each case. So I think Portal Games is going to have a lot of legs with this one. They seem to, I mean, they're one of my anticipated games of this year is the Vienna, I think it's Vienna Collection, which is coming, yeah, the Vienna Connection, which is based around this series. By the game mechanisms of detective, you take on the CIA agents during the Cold War. So, I mean, they can branch off and do I have a feeling that this is not going away anytime soon, which is great for me because it's my number 25.
Yep, I need to still play mine.
Yeah, you do. I mean, come on.
Well, you've played my 25. It was 31 2 years ago, 40 last year, and 25 now. And it's just because I've been on a kick with this IP lately, and that is Legendary Encounters Alien.
Specifically Alien? Oh, yeah. I can read the title.
Yeah. So this one is just a great way. You play through all the Aliens movies, even if you don't like the Aliens movies that you're playing through, because as long as
you're playing through 1 and 2, you're good. And
well, the
3,
other ones are fun.
If you're feeling whimsical. If you're playing 4, you've played the game too long.
Yeah, it's those are still fun to actually play. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But but yeah, this one it uses the legendary system of all the same symbology and all that stuff, and adds more theme to it than like a Marvel Legendary. And that because you do get to play through the movies. So like if you want to play movie or the original Alien movie, you're gonna pick these certain heroes, the 5 hero things, shuffle them all up, make a deck for your hero row, and then you create your alien deck and stuff. And what happens is they'll come out just like in Marvel Legendary, let's say, but they come out face down, so you don't know like what is coming. And in each of those spots, there is an attack value that you can do to scan that area, and you can flip them over that way. You know what's coming. And then you can try to kill them at that point or whatever. If they get to the end of the track, then they're going to fall down into where you're at, and then they'll attack you. And whenever you take a wound, there's a wound deck. So you could take a minor flesh wound, you could be a mortal wound and do all this stuff. The difference is you'll pick an avatar. So it's like a generic avatar, soldier, medic, whatever. that has their own special card, and then that'll be what you'll start with as you're recruiting the hero characters or whatever. But they have scenarios, they're set up neat, like with the movies. You're trying to find the sentry guns in the first one, and then doing all this or whatever. Airlock the queen in the second one. There's just a lot of different stuff that goes on with this. They've had expansions. They had a big box expansion that added some more scenarios and more queen stuff, because they also have, with a lot of these kind of alien type games, they have a version of this that if you die, then you become an alien, or you can control the queen and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
They also have a smaller box expansion that brings in the Covenant movie for aliens and brings in that scenario and stuff.
Oh, it just have like a big pile of shit in the box?
I don't know.
Man, the Alien Covenant expansion.
I don't have that one, so I don't know. But also it's kind of neat because they even go theme wise into throwing in the face huggers. Like if a face hugger card pops up, it's on you, and you put it in front of you, and if it doesn't get killed before it becomes your turn again, then you're infected, and so you have to put a chest burster card into your deck and shuffle it in, and then once that, you're going to die eventually, because as soon as that card pops up, boom, you're dead. So there's a lot of cooperation in this. This game's the one that introduced, unlike what the Marvel version has, there's a cooperation version of this, or aspect of this, where you can play cards on other people's turns if it has the cooperation keyword to help out with stuff. So, because this game's pretty tough. I mean, there's a lot of nasty shit that comes out of that deck, and stuff. So if you like aliens, go for it. The other games will do this exact same way. They have Predator, which I'm not a huge Predator fan, so I didn't care for that one.
I like the first one.
Yeah, there's a Firefly that I have that plays through all 13 episodes of Firefly.
And then it's disappointing at the end.
Yeah. Well, the art of that one's horrible, but the gameplay is awesome. They have Buffy, they have James Bond 007, they have Big Trouble in Little China.
Last scenario, it doesn't end. It doesn't have an end.
Yeah. It's like, so I don't know. There is so many different versions of this out, X-Files, all kinds of stuff at this point. But I'm just kind of
cracking up about the idea of you getting the Alien Covenant thing and you open it up and it's just like a frozen just third. But it has a rule book and everything. It's like what the fuck is this? And they're like, you did expect this, and you're like, no, I kind of did. I don't know what I was expecting.
Yes, this is in my opinion, because I like the IP of this one, this is my favorite encounters at this point. So we'll see what goes on after that. But this is my 25 Legendary Encounters Aliens.
Neat. All right, my number 24 has fallen slightly. Last year it was number 11, and the year before that it was 10. And this is just one of those games I haven't gotten to the table as much, but it is, in my opinion, better than the other game that has fallen on this list is Rising Sun. Rising Sun is, to me, my favorite Eric Lang game. It is slightly better than Death May Die and Blood Rage. A lot of Eric Lang games actually on this list. A lot of Simon games. Anyway, this one is basically a spiritual successor to Blood Rage. It has a lot of similar ideas, but it is set in feudal Japan, which Brad and I differ on that. He likes Vikings. I like feudal Japan. Aren't we a pair? Anyway, this one includes heavy negotiation. That was kind of its idea, was that a solid mechanic in it is the fact that you can team up with other players. And whenever you're choosing actions, because you draft basically these tiles that are, immaculate, because I have the Kickstarter edition. They're like those, I don't know. They're not, I think they're plastic, but it's like that hardened tile.
Bakelite is what they call that stuff, like dominoes.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Yes, that's what it is. Dominoes is better than whatever the hell I said. But yeah, and they have a top and a bottom action, and you as the player, whenever you're choosing it, you'll get both. But if you're allied with someone, they will get the bottom action. So there's a lot of heavy negotiation in this, which makes or breaks it for a lot of people. Some people don't like to negotiate because they'll be like, anyone want to help me? And then someone will be like, I don't know, you want to do this for me? And they're like, oh, no, I'm sorry. It's like, you got to have a type of personality for negotiation to be involved. But I mean, has all amazing monsters, Oni, that do different things, that help you fight in battle, that help you control shrines. Because you have different types of you have warriors that help in battle, then others that are sent to shrines specifically to get you specific resources or abilities. You don't draft cards, but you can pay for cards that become your own, and that gives you different ways of scoring points at the end of the game. One abilities, passive abilities that go on. And for me, another big difference from Rising Sun to Blood Rage is the fact Blood Rage is you are building up your clan as the game is going on. Here, your clan does have a unique ability from the get-go, and you make that even more different from the cards that you purchase. And I like that. And each faction is different. They get points differently. They can win. Like their strategies are completely different. There is a turtle clan, which is my favorite because you have strongholds that help you control areas, but their strongholds can actually move. So when strongholds, they kind of stay, but there's provide them a point. And so you just kind of get into the big areas and you kind of turtle. So that's what they do, and that's why that's usually my strategy in these kinds of games. So yeah, there's a ton going on in this game, and I have the wonderful broken token crate for it, not the painted one, because I was like, I'll just paint that myself. Like, why would I pay another $150 to do that? Like, there's nothing unique about it except it's black and red. I love this game. So as you can imagine, I mean, in this same segment, Blood Rage and Rising Sun, they're literally 5 spaces apart from one another because they're both fantastic. So Ankh could be right up here with them. So I'm not gonna get like super high pedestal like we did with Alter Quest with games anymore, because we've learned what that can kind of do to the mind. So yeah, I love this game. So that's number 24, Rising Sun.
All right, my number 24 is another CMON game. It was 16 2 years ago. It was 18 last year, so it fell a little bit just because I haven't played it much recently. And that is Arcadia Quest. This is one of those games that kind of, there's so many heroes that come with this. If you have all the Kickstarter stuff and everything, and it brings in the aspect of, it's got a mini campaign, which is what I like, because it's just like, I think it's like six missions.
Episodes. Yep.
So you can go through a campaign fairly quickly. And but every scenario that you have is you have to take out 2 of the 3 winning conditions. So there's going to be a couple different winning conditions on board, like objectives, and then there's a player kill. A PvP objective. So if you kill one of the other people on the board, that has to be one of them. It's mandatory that one of them has to be a PvP, and then the objective is the other. So you will gain items and stuff, power up your players. The thing with the player abilities, some of the abilities are a lot stronger than others, but the ones that seem like they're weak are really, really powerful in certain scenarios. It just depends on the scenario, there are, I do not like the Inferno version of this. I had it and I sold the Inferno version of this. All I have is this and the Beyond the Grave and all the Kickstarter stuff for that. So that's really all I need for this. The minis are really cool. Other than this is the one time I don't mind the chibi minis. I don't know why fantasy chibi isn't as bad. Right.
Like, I'm looking at the art and I'm like, it's not like Marvel United where they look like infants. Like yes. Here they still look like, I mean, regular people. They're just little.
Yeah, and a lot, and just like Simon usually does, there's a lot of these characters in these games that are kind of loosely based on people, like
Yeah.
movie characters and stuff.
And this is actually Cool Mini or Not. You can see it right there at the bottom. It's
Well,
not Simon. It's Cool
yeah,
Mini or Not.
same thing.
I know.
Um, but again, we were talking earlier. Another Eric Lang. This is another Eric Lang game.
Oh, so it is.
Uh, it's just one of those kind of cool. Like my family likes this. It's a simple campaign. It's not like jumping into a Gloomhaven or something that's 100 scenarios. This is 6 scenarios. You're done.
Yeah.
So if you happen to pick a shitty character, just deal with it for 6 plays and you're done. It's like, but yeah, I mean that's that. There isn't a whole lot to say about it. It's dice roll, attacking, and I don't know. That's about it on this one. It's just a solid one that fell just because I haven't played it in a while.
This is one that I've had a roller coaster of emotions with. I liked it, and I really hated it for the longest time. And now I think it's just been a long time, so I just don't really have any feelings towards it one way or another. It's okay. Like I still have my gripes with it. I do believe that it's 100% luck. Like everything you're doing. Yeah, I mean you draft your items and your upgrades, so that's there. But at the end of the day, it comes down to dice. So you could have the best build ever, but if you roll all blanks all the time, sucks to suck. I do also feel that it is only 6 scenarios, which is nice, but the person who does most likely continue to do well because they're only going to pick the ones that give them. Because if you win one, you get like a bonus in another one. So it's like, all right, well, let's just pick that one, and that's the one that. So I get the benefit of it. But I mean, like you said, it's 6 scenarios. Like when, like not too aggressive and just chuck dice and enjoy the most overpowered character who is named Seth, and then win the game. So
the other thing with this is you have 3 characters.
Yeah.
And trying to spread out the loot amongst those 3, it kind of waters it down. That's why I have never played Starcadia Quest yet, and I want to, because you only control 2 characters. So everything I've been hearing from people is that it's such a better experience because you're focusing just on 2 people, and you can really ramp them up and really, make them your own. Instead of
I do want to try that. I think because even in Arcadia Quest with 3, 2 of them would end up be good, and one would just be there.
One would be fodder. You just
I mean, it would always die, and it's like, why do I even like? Throughout the entire series when we played this, it was like, oh, okay, like just keep that one in the guild hall because it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So
that's my 24.
Nice. My number 23 was 24 last year, so it went up one space. And in 2017, in 2018, it was number 7. So it has gone up. I can definitively say that, and it will. I don't know where it's going to fall on your list. You haven't mentioned it yet, I don't think. And this was the other Simon game. I thought for some reason it is Fantasy Flight, and that is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. Know why we say no one's talking about 1st edition anymore. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's in a landfill with the ET Atari games. So this is a phenomenal game that utilizes an app. We mentioned it with Middle Earth Journeys Tolkien game. That basically it took all the fiddliness and the minutia of the 1st edition and took it all into a very well designed app that is immersive and just really get the theme. There are a bunch of scenarios that all play different, that have a bunch of different endings to them, depending on how well you're doing. And it's incredibly challenging and a blast. Everyone plays a unique character with an awesome backstory that you move around a map that is ever branching, and you are exploring different sites and battling monsters. I mean, we've talked about it so many times. It's such a fantastic game. If you even remotely like Lovecraftian or cooperative games, I highly recommend this. It's a staple. It is a little pricey because you're kind of like because you're really paying for the app as well, which is slightly annoying that they jack up the price that high. But you do get a lot of minis. My major gripe is the fact that the fucking broken token crate doesn't hold the latest expansions. So that's not Fantasy Flight's fault. That's just that's Broken Token's fault for doing all that. Who knows what they'll do? But there are, as of right now, a total of 22 scenarios, and some of them are DLC. In fact, let's see. There are 3 DLC expansions, which are $5 a piece. And another annoying thing, now this is, I think, Fantasy Flight's fault, is I bought those on my iPhone when I had an iPhone, and then whenever I went to Android, I don't have them anymore.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
I have to buy them again. And every once in a while, they go on sale. But wait, did I buy them again? I think I did buy them again. So, or maybe they gave them to me. I don't know. But I think they're about $5 a piece. But it tells you the duration of each scenario, tells you the difficulty. I have done 2 of the level the level 5 difficulties, and they are pretty hard. Like I think I've failed every single one of them. So I really hope they just stop releasing expansions and just start doing like DLC like stuff for the app, which we've mentioned a lot of these games can do. But yeah, I very much believe this is more immersive than the journeys in Middle Earth.
I agree. The one thing that's odd about this game is, when they came out with 2nd edition, there was a brief window where they were selling the suppressed memories and whatever. It was the tiles and miniatures stuff, like the stuff that was with the 1st edition, to come over to 2nd edition.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have 1st edition, so I bought those to bring over those tiles from that. But they only sold them for just like a small amount of time, and each of those little boxes are literally selling for $200 a piece and selling. And I'm just like, that's nuts. But it's like, why wouldn't they make more of those when this is such a popular game? Because there's people all over looking for them.
I don't know. I've given up on trying to understand Fantasy Flight's logistics, and like they don't know what they're doing either.
Well, now I will say that the one thing they do keep in stock are extra dice sets for this game. You can find extra dice sets for this anywhere. I've bought a few of them,
but not for Elder Sign.
Right, exactly. Pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who's in charge of what there. Obviously, I don't work for them, so it's just I have it. So yay me! Like it's I don't know. So
it's a good one though, for sure.
It's still a great game. So that's my number 20.
All right, so
Mansions of Madness.
My number 23. I can't remember if you've said this yet or not. It's the only good Pandasaurus game. It was 15 2 years ago, 17 last year, 23 this year, kind of more or less similar. And that's Dinosaur Island.
Nice.
This was a great surprise. I mean, I knew it sounded cool when the Kickstarter was going, and it wasn't super expensive to get all the metal coins and all the cool plastic dinosaurs, and the art was retro and kind of neat. It was all that 90s nostalgia stuff. But when you dig into the game and start playing it surprised the hell out of me, this game. Just all we've talked about this before, where this is a fairly easy game to teach because it's like 4 mini games where you're going through and you teach them how to do the dice draft and how to get this stuff, and then you're teaching them to spending your actions on your board to do all this different stuff, and then you're placing your meeples, and then it's just like there's it's a simple game to teach, but it's a complex enough game that there's just all kinds of stuff that's going on. And I haven't even played any of the expansion content. Like
Liquid.
Yeah, I've only played this because there's so much in this box,
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, it's the Totally Liquid is a modular expansion. So do you own it?
I don't own.
I would highly recommend getting it because at least
Yeah.
it's not just dump everything into it. You can slowly pick one or the other, and I would say it's very much worth it. The water dinosaurs are really, really cool. They don't generate like a lot of points, but they give you a lot of popularity. And I think their danger is low too because it's like, oh no, it's in the water. What's it gonna do? Like if it escapes, it's
right.
It escapes and then it drowns, and you're like, all right, that was scary for a second.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, if you fell in the water, that's where it. Ooh, that would freak me out.
Yeah, this is just one of those of all because there was a little time when all these dinosaur games were kind of coming out with Dinogenics and this and all that stuff. Right now, I think this is the one that beat them all out. They're still coming out with other, like, I guess, sequels to this game and stuff like that. I don't know how those are going to be, but as of for right now, this one is top notch, and it's probably going to stay on this list for quite a while because of how impressive it ended up being with all of its different game mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. This one is. I mean, I'm pretty sure Pandasaurus is just a one-hit wonder with this one. I guess they also did The Mind, and The Mind is fun. So I don't know.
Yeah.
The Mind is not on my list, as you can tell. It did not skyrocket to the top. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do with Dinosaur World.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right, my number 22 is my favorite Vita Lasarda game that is just so good. And granted, I have not played Lisboa, Vinhos, or Kanban, so we shall see where those land. But yeah, this one is a fantastically hard cooperative game, probably one of the hardest cooperative games I have. And last year it was number 5, so it has fallen quite significantly, but that's just due to a little bit of lack of play. But it is CO2 Second Chance. This is a game about global warming, and it does that theme, I think, in a phenomenal way. I mean, this game is basically, it sets you up to fail. Like, the chances of it are of succeeding. I mean, you have to do almost everything to overcome the hurdles. And while it's not I've played this game and we have won. I have also played this game where we thought we were winning and basically neglected one thing and ended up losing. So the game is very brutal, and to my understanding, that is by design. I mean, you could say this was his agenda, but I support that. It works for me. I mean, the game is called CO2 Second Chance. It's just like, hey, by the way, we might have already fucked up, so the game is designed that way. But if you don't know, it's a worker placement style game where you are trying to build different types of energy efficient plants. Every continent is utilizing fossil fuels, and they have different demands depending on setup of the type of building they want. They could go recycling, they can go water, they can go so they can go hydro, they can go greenhouse, they can go electric. And there's one more in there, but I'm missing it. And so you are trying to gain the information to be able to build these types of plants. And I mean, everything in this game connects to something in some way. You can send a worker to a factory, like a legitimate factory, and then he is only allowed to go to these different summits because that's all he knows. like he can't go to a hydro plant and then all of a sudden go talk about forestation. It's just like reforestation. It's like he doesn't know anything about that. You have a bunch of these different criteria that as you meet them, you flip them over. And at the end of each year, because you start in 2020, and then it goes every decade, so 2030, 40, 50. And then, so at the end of each, I think it's decade, then you basically will lose points equal to how many objectives you haven't met, as well as you have an emission level that you're trying to overcome. Different countries require more because they're bigger. Like, so for example, Oceania to do because they're a continent. Over North America, they have a lot of missions because they're a bigger continent. So it's a fantastic game, and it has a weird co-op mechanism where it's like you have objective cards in your hand, but you're not allowed to talk about them. We completely ignored that. It's like that makes no sense of why you can't talk about what you're trying to do. If you don't like it cooperative, you can play it competitive. The original was competitive with a co-op variant, and he's flipped that. So similar to On Mars, I think On Mars will be a lot better game whenever it's cooperative. So here we got CO2 Second Chance. It's so good. I love this game, and I love this theme. So that's my number 22.
I've considered this one for solo play, but I don't know if I would. I don't know.
I mean, he looked at Darwin and said Darwin's Journey and was like, it's too busy. Like, it's a busy board. I cannot recommend any of his games to you. Point. So,
yeah, that's probably true. All right. So my number 22 was not on my list 2 years ago. It was 35 last year. It's one that I believe you've played, maybe. I know you own it. And that is The Quacks of Quedlinburg.
This was initially my honorable mention, but one more game got added to the list and it fell out. I actually just got the expansion to this one.
Yeah, I need to order it. This is a wonderful game. In that it's simple, you know, but it's one of those press your luck, bag building type deals where you're trying to you're pulling ingredients out of a bag and placing it in your cauldron, I guess, that you're making your potion in. And you're pushing your luck because if you get, I think it's 7 points of cherry bombs, I think, then your thing explodes. So you're just constantly, and each ingredient you drop down has abilities, you know, so you're going to lay down, as you're going to keep playing stuff in your pot, you're drawing one at a time until you decide to stop. Because if you draw enough cherry bombs and you explode, then you aren't going to get points or whatever. Yeah. But then you once you decide to stop, and then once everybody's stopped, then you go through and you there's a track of points that follows your deal. So however many points you have on there is your currency as well. So then you can buy new chits to go into your bag, which add more. And you know, the cool thing about it is there's different prices of each. So like the blue ones, there's like, I don't know, 1, 2, 4 or whatever. So you can buy, you know, a couple of ones or just buy 2 or whatever, you know, and they all have these abilities that you're building up your bag with. And then there's the rat track, which is the catch up mechanic. So if you're playing a 2-player game and whoever's in first place is up, you can look at all the rat tails on the score track. And if there's like 3 rat tails between you two, then you can move your starting spot of your potion up 3 spots, you know? So it's like, it's making it easier for you to go further. Like I said, it's a simplistic game, but the decision-making is cool. And what's also neat is all those colored tokens also have multiple powers. Like you could flip them over and they have different powers on the other side. So you can constantly mix and match these things and come up with different game styles. I don't know I think the expansion just adds more stuff. I don't know a whole lot about the Witch's Brew expansion.
Yeah, it adds a new resource. So it adds like a new book. And it also adds 1 more book of each of the other different colors. So you have 3 total books.
Okay, so just more.
And then it adds like a stack of witches, which I don't know what they do. Money was involved, so I think they're probably like powers that you can pay for. But it was mainly just more of a great thing, which I like those kinds of expansions.
Well, and the one thing I need to do with this game is kind of like what I did with Orleans bag building, is because pulling cardboard tokens out of a bag is tedious a little bit. I want a little more heft. With Orleans, I use coin cases, which you can use for this as well. But if you go to BGG, they have the geek bits for both this and the expansion that are like the ones that are baked on and stuff. And it's like $40 for a whole set of them for the base game.
Yeah.
But they just add so much more tactile feel and all that stuff that they're really cool.
I agree. I need to get those as well, because here's the thing. This game is great. Like it just made the list, but those bags suck.
They do.
Like they're very flimsy, like silk bags, which are nice bags in and of themselves. But whenever you're drawing from them, a lot of the tokens get stuck in like the corners, and so you're missing them, and you want those heftier cloth bags where the bag doesn't fold in on itself. So,
well, and that's one of the big reasons why people want those BGG tokens. They're popular. They sell like crazy. They sell out pretty quick once they get there.
Right.
So this is one of those things, and it still to this day surprises the hell out of me that this is a North Star Games game.
Oh, I know, because normally they make that.
Because like Evolution and all those were. I mean, I don't mind Evolution. I don't think it made my list. No, it didn't make my list. But it's not a horrible game, but some of the expansions turned it into horrible stuff. So, but anyway, Quaxaquedlinburg, it was it won the Spiel 2 years ago. It's a great game. Number 22.
Awesome. All right, yeah, that's a good one. That one's a lot of fun. It surprised me. So my number 21 has already been mentioned this segment, actually. I was really hoping it was going to be my 22, but CO2 ended up taking it. So we can just talk about it at the same time. But it's not. So in 2019, it was number 4. It was number 4. And then in 2018, it was number 15. So it's fallen from both years. I don't know what happened between. I'm just feeling something different. I think I really hate the company now. So they have not made games that I have enjoyed. Yeah, you know which one it is. And it is Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
We literally just talked about this. It's fantastic. The different games, the 4 different sections, how they connect and coincide from one to the other. Are great. The fact that you get to build your own dinosaur theme park, and it's not like it's in a fun roller coaster tycoon kind of idea. The stupid ass puns for games, they work. The slap bracelet is the first player fast pass marker. Is hilarious. And I mean, this game is amazing, and with the expansion, it just gives it that much more depth to it with the water tokens, the different unique tiles that you can build in your placements. It has a lot going on. That it's an amazing game. So I mean, can't really. Now, what I hate about this freaking box cover is every time the T-Rex, which is the purple section, is forward facing.
Yeah.
When you look at it, it looks like it's 2 gorillas. Like if you look at it looks like it's 2 gorillas looking at the sides. You're getting a side view of it's just weird. Everything else works for it, but that T-Rex just always throws me off till I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that is. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's great. I like the randomness of sometimes getting hooligans in your park, and so you can just draw a bunch of great people who actually pay and want to come in, or otherwise you just get people who cheat. And I will say though, do not play this game as a short variant. I feel like you miss a lot.
Yeah, the medium is almost too short.
Yeah,
almost.
I would say, because like even the long game isn't really that long.
Right.
But I would say at least do medium, because short, it's just like, oh, okay. Get 1 dinosaur in your park, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you place 2 tiles, and it's over.
Yeah. So And Kat and I we had a game day one day, and because we were trying to play a bunch, we played the short variant, and we're like, I feel like we're missing a bunch of stuff while playing this. So yeah, that is I mean, it's not really a complaint because you don't have to ever play it as a short game.
Right.
But yeah, this one's awesome. So that's my 21, Dinosaur Island.
Good choice. Well, my number 21, I think, was on your last list. You introduced this game to me, and it's been a big hit so far. I like playing it solo as well. This is my other one that's brand new to the list, and it is Everdell.
Nice.
I like card games. Surprisingly, now I'll tell you that this shocked the hell out of me. That my wife likes competitive games, right? So I figured, well, this is a home run. Playing, and she actually is kind of just lukewarm on it. And I don't know why. So it's weird. Yeah,
I hate good games.
But no, but this playing this game solo is really fun. I mean, I don't know if you played it solo. It's pretty much just you're rolling that one other die, and it's kind of
die. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, this game, the art is outstanding. The way the board kind of builds out with the expansions. I don't have the 2 newest expansions, but I will get them. Yeah. But the way the board kind of just fills out with the expansions is awesome. The card art's awesome. The way cards work together, like the husband and wife cards, and it's just there's just cool card interactions, and they put a lot of thought into this game, and your interactions that you have, the way that the seasons come into play, the way you get more workers, the longer the game goes. It's just a really good game.
Surprisingly deeper than you would think, because
exactly,
it's like some people, I'm gonna place my 2 starting workers. All right, I'm passing already, and then other people could be like really good with their work, with their resources. It's like, okay, I can go like 4 or 5 more turns just based off the cards I have, and then this one's really, really good.
Yeah, and I don't know what it'll do. I mean, I need to get those 2 expansions, and I'm sure they will make it better. Obviously from what you had talked about them with. So, yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a nice worker placement tableau building game with wonderful art.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. All right, so that is it for this segment, everyone. Now we are into the top 20. Stick around for those segments. Let us know what you think of these games in the comments below. Other than that, like, subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.